So that opportunity to be able to celebrate people, oftentimes we wait until people aren't on earth anymore, but to be able to celebrate somebody while they're still living it was such a beautiful experience.
Nobody listening is unaffected somewhere by having loss, possibly related to cancer. So where people finding hope and joy or gratitude, even knowing that the end is near.
So yes, I've definitely lost friends. There's been several people on the show that have passed away that have been on the show. So one example would be Lee Silverstein. Lee was a 12-year colon cancer thriver. He has a beautiful family. He had a job that he loved. He had cancer when he was a child originally, and then colon cancer later on. And I went to his celebration of life after he passed away. And it really was a celebration of life. People got up and shared stories for I don't know how long about Lee. And there were tears, and there was laughter, and there were smiles, and there were serious moments, and there were stories and stories. But to be able to hear those stories from his family, from friends, I originally met Lee through PodFest, the podcast conference in Orlando. Yeah, Lee had a great smile. Also, I, along with my friend and former co-host of the show, Shannon Lee Sin, they were very good friends, Lee and Shannon. And Shannon created a show called Blue Couch Chat, which is similar in nature to Showing Up, except it focuses much more on colon cancer, because Shannon is also a colon cancer survivor, and they were diagnosed around the same time. So Shannon was inspired by Lee to create her show, Blue Couch Chat, and he was bugging her for years to create this show. And so she finally created the show. I think it was several weeks before he passed away. And Lee came on the show, and it was a celebration of Lee while he was still alive. So Lee came on the show, and all sorts of people from his past, from his, the present situation at the time. And it was so beautiful. So that opportunity to be able to celebrate people, oftentimes we wait until people aren't on earth anymore. But to be able to celebrate somebody while they're still living it was such a beautiful experience.
So with Lee and with others, it seemed like the cancer diagnosis opened up the opportunity to say, well, let's celebrate life now, because it's so real that it's temporary.
Yeah, and Lee had said, I remember he said that the 12 years that he had cancer were the 12 best years of his life.
Ooh, so tell me more about that, like maybe what Lee's story was, and how maybe you or others may live in parallel to that.
So Lee, it's been a while since I had him on the show, but he had, like I was saying, he was originally diagnosed with some form of cancer when he was a child. And then later in his life, he was diagnosed with colon cancer. And he had this job that supported him so much. People from his job showed up at the celebration of life and talked so beautifully about him. And he loved his family. There were all these pictures at the celebration of life of his family and friends and going to different sports games. And you could just tell that he was happy. Whenever you had a conversation with him and his wife were so much in love, and you could see that. You could just sense it when you were in his presence, whether it was online or whether it was in person.
So is that like a renewed appreciation for every moment? I mean, that's what I hear, and
Sure.
when I read, D. Bounds Burrell talking about how gratitude is this guiding light through her cancer journey, and others have shared the same in the book. Gina Anderson shares that, for me, gratitude reveals itself in the darkness. This is a quote that she had in the book.
Yes.
Gratitude reveals itself in that darkness when you have an invisible, unexplained disease that exposes you, but it also reveals your unconscious mind. And this is why I live, quoting Gina, this is why I live to give pure love and kindness to others. Even when you feel like people around you judge you, you can tap into that energy inside and redirect that darkness. It seems like how you're describing Lee finding the greatest 12 years of his life, because they might also be dark moments, yet he's choosing to see the good, embrace life, embrace love. And this is me. I'm not suffering from cancer. And so, hearing what you
That's a
share,
good
I'd
thing.
like to see, how do people go through such challenge and see such beauty through it?